Okay, our last little bit, we've just walked over a boardwalk. There's obviously been some work done to make this site a bit more accessible. We're breaking out now into the housing estate at the other end of the Lye Valley.
Back into civilization almost.
Exactly. And a couple of red kites have flown over. I've not been able to record them. You start hearing jackdaws in a very distance, but you begin to know you're coming into civilization, especially when you start hearing sparrows and things. But you've come across some what do you call it? Logs, coppice trees.
Yes.
And a very, very orange innards.
Yeah, they almost look like carrot baton. You know, you cut your carrots into strips. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's just willow, and that's just sap that will dry out very quickly. It's really fresh, I think.
And they've done quite a bit of work.
It just shows how much the willows are got their feet in water. You know, it's full of water, and that will soon dry out, and it will just go black. So we're now broken out into the open when we've got some willows that have been basically pruned 3 foot tall, quite statuesque. How would you approach photographing these in this current light now? Where hopefully all these pictures will turn up on the internet or something at some point, but these are like little people. How would you, in the current light, or is that not photographable now?
I think everything it's got its own photography potential. I mean, this here would be, for me, would be very much a documenting photo, showing as the land as it is now. And you can maybe come back in 6 months' time and see how that has changed from the original photo. What's also interesting here, we've got some old railway sleepers which I think were used as part of the old the old boardwalk, weren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could see myself using these almost as people, almost, as you say. You could take a shot low down, maybe again possibly get them silhouetted. Yeah, they might make an interesting.
How would you give it a sense of scale, this landscape? Because okay, we've got different greens and we've got the boardwalk drifting off into the distance, but how would you take a photograph to actually get across the 3D vision we've got now? Perspective, or
that's the beauty of having a nice wide angle lens. So this goes as wide as 17mm. So the smaller the number, the wider your angle will be when you take the photo. And this lens will give you a wider aspect than you would normally see, especially within focusing, because our focus with it is roughly within 2020. It would actually, in a way, this lens would almost make this place feel wider than it actually is, because we're only quite a confined space here, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's only, what do you reckon, across? Maybe 50 foot across? Maybe a bit further than that.
It's more than 50 feet. I'd actually say about...
it's about 100 metres, I think.
Yeah, it's 100 metres easily. I'm just remembering
maybe
back
150.
when I was a kid at school, you know, I could run out 100 metres without having a heart attack, and that's probably about the distance I could run.
Yeah, so it's probably about 100. So but it's still quite a confined space. So with a wider angle, it will actually it will distort the view, and it will actually make it look much wider. That's the other thing to consider, is this. There is a thing called lens distortion. So the wider you go, the more distorted your image becomes.
Okay, so hopefully this second session will inspire people to come out. One last thing. You brought out all this kit, I brought this kit out. What would you say, somebody who wants to just come out and start exploring photography, what is the minimum they need to bring out with them to start enjoying your pastime?
The minimum, the very bare minimum, if you've got a decent phone with a decent camera on it, as long as it's decent light, you'll get something. And especially if you're interested, in close-ups, because most cameras have a decent macro. So, or just a small compact camera. You don't need the really fantastic professional style cameras to get good results.
And the only thing I'd say as a sound recorder is to bring a big SD card, because I ran out of space on my first one. I had to borrow one off of a friendly photographer who stood next to me. So bring a SD card of, with at least 10 gigabytes on, I'd say. So that's it for today. We'll be with you again soon.
Thank you very much.